Hi everybody. So in this video, we're going to do practice on cross-price elasticity of demand and income elasticity of demand. So the first table says the price of good A, the quantity demanded of A, and the quantity demanded of B. And then it says calculate the price elasticity of demand for A. So this is kind of a little bit of a throwback problem a little bit. So price elasticity of demand. And by the way, it helps to write out the formula each time because then you'll start to remember what they are. Price elasticity of demand is the quantity demanded over the price. Now, for this one, we can say, let's just say we're going from this to this. So for this, right, the price is going to go from 10 to 8, and so that's a 20% decrease, negative 20%. And then as we go from here to here, we'd say that's a positive 10%. And so this leads us with negative 0.5 in elastic. Now calculate the cross-price elasticity of demand for A and B. How are they related? So CPED is equal to the percent change in quantity demanded of X over the percent change in price of Y. So two different goods. Now for this one, we're not going to need this middle column. We just need this column because we're going to compare the price of good A to the quantity demanded of B. Now, why didn't we do the price of B and the quantity demanded of A? That's a great question. We could have, but they didn't give us the price of B, so you go with what you got. Now, for this one, we already know the price dropped 20%. How do we know that? Because we did it in the previous problem. For the second one, we go from 5 to 10, so that's a 100% increase. And the signs matter here, they matter. So we're gonna end up with -5. Now, a negative number, right? If this means the price goes down of one and people buy a whole lot more of the other, that means that they're somehow related where if people are like looking at it and they go, okay, that's cheaper, and oh, that's nice, I'll buy more of the other thing too. That means they're bought together, they're complements. Now, we could reason it out by thinking about that relationship like I just did, or you can just look at the negative sign and say negative are complements, right? Positives are substitutes, negatives are complements. All right, now, price of margarine goes up by 20%. Margarine is a butter substitute, by the way. Bakeries increase their quantity of butter demanded by 5. Are butter and margarine substitutes or complements? I kind of just told you that they're substitutes, but actually we should test it just to see because this could be a trick question. Okay, so we know that the price is positive 20%, and we know, and that's of margarine. And we'd say that the quantity demanded of butter goes up by 5%. Quantity demanded of butter. And so we end up with positive 0.25. So we'd say they are substitutes. They're weak substitutes, as it turns out, for bakeries, because bakeries typically buy a certain amount of butter, and they probably buy a certain amount of margarine no matter what. They probably just use those. So we'd say, though, that because the positive sign, they are relatively substitutes. All right, let's take a look at income elasticity of demand. Calculate the price elasticity of demand when the price of a t-shirt goes from 5 to 6, average tourist income is 20. So we're going to use quantity demanded of t-shirt if average income is 20 for this one. We don't need this column just yet. And we're going from 5 to 6. So when we go from 5 to 6, we'd say, so the new minus the old over the old, right? So 6 minus 5 over 5 is 1/5. And so we'd say positive 20% price, right? Because that's 0.25 or 0.2. And then we went from 2,400 to 1,600. So 16 minus 24 over 24. And that's equal to -8 over 24, which is -1/3. And -1/3 would be -33% quantity demanded. So in this one, we have, this is just a terrible, oh, that's just awful. It probably would be actually easier if we did this, -1/3 over 1/5. And then we know that that's equal to -1/3 times 5, which is 5/3, right? So the reciprocal of that, when you divide by a fraction, you can multiply by its reciprocal. So 5/3 is 1 2/3, which is 1.67. And so that is our answer. So we know that it's relatively elastic. Okay, calculate the income elasticity of demand when the price of a t-shirt is 4 and the average tourist income goes from 20 to 30. Okay, so now this one is going to be a little different, right? We're going to think about what's the percent change in income and the percent change in quantity demanded. And so the only thing that's going to change is we're going to go from 3,000 to 5,000, right? So we're actually changing quantity demanded. We go from 3 to 5 at $4. So the percent change in quantity demanded, the new value is 5,000 minus 3,000 over 3,000. And so that is 2/3. So we're going to put that in the numerator. And the percent change in price, we'll just do that one over here. Percent change in price is, oh, sorry, it's not price, it's income. Percent change in income is going from 20 to 30. Okay, so that's new 30 minus 20 over 20. Okay, and so that's 10 over 20, that's 50%. Or you can actually just say like 1/2, because that's, 10 over 20 is 1/2. So 2/3 times 2 is equal to 4/3, which is 1.33. Now, what is this, right? This value means it's income elastic. So it's a relative luxury good, and it's a normal good. And how do we know it's normal? Well, because with this, right, this was a positive, and this was a positive. So that's how we know, because it's a positive value that comes out of it. We know that it's a normal good, and we would say that it's income elastic. All right, last question. After Chelsea's income goes from 12 to 18, her purchases of CDs go from 10 to 40. Calculate her income elasticity. So this 12 to 18 is a 50% income increase. And again, if you want to sit down and do these fractions, you can, or you can, if you're really good at quickly spotting percentages, then that it obviously helps a little bit. That's 50% increase in income. And her CDs go from 10 to 40, so that's 300%. She buys a lot more CDs, right? And so we would say that it's +6, so they are normal because it's a positive, and we'd say that they are income elastic. So they're relative luxuries for Chelsea. Okay, hopefully that helped you. I'll see you next time.